suppose one of the big topics that people would want to hear, especially in this time and age, is the two keywords, eco and green. Would that be something that you had to narrow down and say that needs to be discussed as well? Because building skyscrapers and having scale is one thing, but the environment now has become a very moot point when it comes to designing, especially architects. Will that be something that we discuss?
We didn't make it a criteria for people to refer to.
Right.
That'd be good if we did.
And Ken is one of the foremost ecological architects in the world. And I think, with architecture, every building, every design really has to be green.
Yes.
And I think good architects understand that green architecture is not a separate sector or division of architecture. All architecture has to be green.
Ah, okay. Right. In terms of your okay, so you will be in a roulette. What kind of ideas do you think will come out? I mean, what kind of ideas will you yourselves be pushing?
Well, it'll be interesting because you never really know. That's the whole idea of the format, that it's this sequence of interviews. And hopefully each interview affects and changes the next one. We still have an overall topic about scale and size, but you hope that it is unpredictable. So I'm hoping that people say things that I don't expect them to say.
We actually have two respondents who comment after the presentation, and they are to stimulate conversation with the audience.
Yes.
So it's really sort of huge conversation between people.
This has happened for how many years in a row already? This is your fourth session?
Correct.
And have you seen it grow in terms of the number of people coming to these events?
Yeah, the first one we did was about 2.5 years ago in Singapore, and then we did one in Shanghai, and then we did one this past year in Hong Kong. And you get different audiences, and we have different participants, so each one actually feels and acts a little bit differently. But the last one that we had in Hong Kong was at the New Asian Society building there. We had about 250 people. And I think we're expecting about 300 people today.
Wow. That's quite interesting because you've had it in the last a few years. What kind of ideas have come out and that have seen been implemented here in Asia now?
I don't know if you can see one particular thing implemented. I mean, it's really about creating a conversation that influences the way people think and approach not only architecture but design, planning, food. I mean, Isadora really has to design each and one of her additions.
Food architect.
Yeah.
That's what she is in that sense.
And even theater works are design. So I think what we want to do is also create a conversation with the general public. That architecture isn't something out there for crazy people like Ken to do, and for me to write about. But it's something that everybody interacts with every single day.
I'm quite interested in the fact that because with engineers, so there's always this neon argument between engineers and architects, within design and following structure and all that. But in terms of architects, is there a trend that you guys follow? Does everyone have their individual concepts? Is there very hard to ask? Do architects follow a trend? When somebody has a great idea, does that idea get followed on, or does everyone say, okay, that's his idea?
Well, I think that there are obviously trends. Like in the Far East now, of Singapore, there's a great interest in new tropical architecture.
Right.
So
more green, yes.
Yeah. Less air conditioning.
Yes.
And so you see a lot of contemporary work now.
Right.
Which is just like that. And there's a whole bunch of very talented young architects in Malaysia. In fact, we have a young lady who's one of our speakers. She's extremely talented.
Another question I'm going to ask, because he's probably still wondering what to ask. You just talked about young architects. In terms of architecture, are there a lot more people out there doing architecture, or just is that job still don't know what the word is? It's interesting.
I think especially in Asia, a lot of opportunities are here right now for architects. in the United States, in Europe, I think the economic situation has made it pretty difficult for a lot of architects.
Right.
But I think here in Asia, in China, in Southeast Asia, there are huge opportunities. And I think what I'm seeing as an American who comes over to Asia periodically, the clients are much more willing to do challenging work.
Right.
They want to do something that's innovative.
Right.
And architects are an important part of shaping, what gets built here. And I think what you're seeing is, more responsible architecture, which means architecture that's responsible to the environment.
Right.
But also, I think, responsible to the local context, and also responsible to the client. Every project. Yeah, you have to meet the needs of the client.
Yeah, you've got to basically implement his ideas. Do you guys, final question now, because I've just been told, do you guys, when it comes to clients, do you actually advise him, or do you just follow what